Reduced to exile on Cyprus with other crusaders, including the Templars, the Knights of St. John immediately focused on the future. First by rebuilding their numbers, and then by forging a new purpose in life. Their legendary exploits in the Holy Land continued to draw recruits from all over Europe, bringing with them even more lands and wealth for the order's work. They began to organize into langs, or tongues, representing the major lands of their membership. There were 7 original langs, made up of Provence, Auberge, France, England, Germany, Spain, and Portugal. The knights lived communally as they had in the Holy Land, although now each lang began to organize its own auberge or dormitory. The order also began to refine its rules for admission, requiring a stricter definition of nobility, and a growing separation between the knights and the sergeants of the order. The military arm had long since taken over control of the order's governance, although priests and monks would continue to be part of its daily life. It had been traditional in the Holy Land and throughout Europe for many members to enter as comforters, men and women of all levels of nobility who made a solemn promise to support the order and uphold the faith. But that was a far cry from what awaited the novice intending to make the order a permanent home. Novice knights were reminded of the order's vows of chastity, poverty, and obedience, and cautioned in the order's ritual of induction not to be led astray by the impression of wealth.
If you see us as well-clothed and riding on great chargers and having everything for our comfort, then you were misled. For when you would desire to eat, it will be necessary for you to fast. And when you would wish to fast, you will have to eat. And when you would desire to sleep, it will be necessary for you to keep watch. And when you wish to stand on watch, it would be necessary for you to sleep. And you will be sent here and there into places that will not please you, and you will have to go there. It will be necessary for you to endure other hardships in the order more than I can describe to you. Are you willing to suffer these things?
In addition to this promise, the professed knight made still another, far more somber one: to die, if need be, for the sake of the order and the faith it served, and in which case, to be assured a seat in heaven. From the beginning of the order, women had been present, serving in the sister hospital of St. Mary Magdalene in Jerusalem, and later in convents across Europe. Like their lay sisters, the comforters, many of the nuns were of noble, even royal lineage, and brought substantial gifts and royal favor with them, just as the male candidates did. This influx of income helped replace the resources lost in the Holy Land, but it did not address the most pressing problem facing the Knights of St. John. What to do now? The Knights needed a new focus, both to channel the energies of their new recruits and to ensure that they did not fall under the same shadow that was about to overwhelm their rivals, the Templars. Since arriving on Cyprus, the order had begun to develop its sea legs. Hospitaller galleys had ferried thousands of pilgrims to the Holy Land, so ships were in their blood. Chance now offered the Knights of St. John the opportunity to make the sea their new battleground. Encouraged by the now nearly extinct Byzantine Empire, the Knights set their sights on the strategic jewel of Rhodes. Sitting only 9 miles from the coast of Turkey, Rhodes was a perfect place from which they could continue their battle against the Muslims by wreaking havoc upon the Turkish fleets that prowled the Aegean and Mediterranean Sea as their empire sought to expand. With its control of the shipping lanes, Rhodes was a perfect site, fertile and lush, with excellent harbors. It was also at that time in the hands of both the Genoese, a seafaring people from northwestern Italy, who some held to be pirates, and the Muslim Turks. The knights arrived on Rhodes in 1306 and began their efforts to take control of the island. It was propitious timing, for the next year, the King of France, driven by jealousy, revenge, and greed, began his systematic destruction of the Knights Templar. The Hospitallers accepted a number of fleeing Templars and their nuns, and inherited some of their wealth. By 1310, the Knights were fully in command of the island of Rhodes, and for the first time, completely autonomous, safely outside the reach of greedy princes, and strategically placed in the Mediterranean to become a key defender of Christian Europe. Rhodes was now the sole heir of Crusader Jerusalem. Unfortunately, most of Rhodes was in ruin. Their first task was to fortify the little island, something the Hospitallers knew how to do very well. Their work would even rebuild the city of Rhodes itself. The walled portion of the Byzantine city, much smaller than the entire ancient city of Rhodes, now became the order's convent, as they referred to their headquarters. Each lang built a new auberge, although by now, many of the senior members of the order lived by twos and threes in comfortable houses, leaving the auberge to novices and visitors. The old Byzantine governor's palace was rebuilt to serve as the Grand Master's residence, taking on the grandeur of a sovereign's palace, for the knights were now masters of their own destiny. And of course, they built churches. The Church of Our Lady of Faleramos is not as impressive in size or decoration as some of their later cathedrals, but it bears the unmistakable stamp of the knights' devotion to their religion, a devotion made all the stronger, perhaps, by a sense of failure to hold the Holy Land and the need to prove their faithfulness in the eyes of God. They would have ample opportunity to do so on Rhodes.